Okay, it's 10 a.m. I think we're rolling. Good morning, everybody, and welcome back. It's another episode of Let's Get Real, the live stream where we talk about building business through real conversation on social media. I'm Shane, and I own 520 East Brands. We're a social media engagement agency located in Louisville, Kentucky. We work with businesses of all size and shapes, and we're just having a lot of fun talking with some people that we know out there and all about keeping things real on social media. So uh, I am very, very excited to welcome today's guest. Jessica Ackerson is the Senior Vice President of Sales at Sabio Inc., overseeing a national sales team based in New York, LA, Detroit, and Chicago. With over 15 years in the digital space, Jessica has a 360-degree view of the industry, having experience at the agency level with client services, sales strategy, marketing, and sales leadership, including extensive experience with both media and programmatic data-driven solutions. She is active in her professional and personal communities as a member of the Chicago Interactive Marketing Association, Hey Mama, and Hadassah Women's Organization of America, and past involvement in the Jewish United Federation. Originally from New Jersey, Jessica attended Indiana University Bloomington and now resides in Deerfield, Illinois, with her husband, her two adorable children, and her fur baby, Frankie. And I do have to throw in that Jessica is my baby cousin. So I had to throw out a few old pictures. That's my baby in Jessica's wedding. So please join me to welcome Jessica. Hold on, there we go. Hi.
Hi, thank you so much for having me and the lovely warm welcome.
I'm so glad you're here. It's fun that we work in similar industries, although not exactly right together. We've been kind of learning together, even though I'm like 10 years older than you, I think, right? But we don't act it. I act your age. Okay, so let's kick it off. Will you tell us a little bit about your job at Sabio? Who are they? What do they do? And what do you do with them?
Yeah, absolutely. So Sabio it's such an amazing company. I've been here for almost 3 years actually, and we started primarily in the mobile space, and everything we do stems from mobile. So there's a really nice tie-in, obviously, with social there. We have over 300 million mobile IDs that we use to build out custom audiences. We then match those at the household level, so we're able to understand actually like connecting a user from their phone to their household, and then we're able to reach them across connected TVs. So for those out there that might not be familiar with connected TV, hi mom, connected TV is when you're actually streaming on your big screen on the wall, but you're connected through apps through the internet. So a lot of that content is app-based and ad-supported. So we're able to, take really unique targeting. Think about the apps that are on your phone, where you go with your phone, and how that makes you different as a consumer. And we're able to target people based on that on both mobile and connected TV.
Cool. So keeping in line with our whole conversation of keeping things real on social, a company who's looking to put their voice out there in a real way, they could use your services to target their demographic and make sure that they are talking to the right people, right?
Yes, absolutely. So there's so many different ways to kind of slice and dice the mobile data that we have our hands on. But if brands come to us all the time, we work with agencies and some brands directly, and they bring us a brief, and we have a good understanding of their audience. Everything we do is all customizable. So if you're looking to reach a mom on the go, think about the apps that might be on a mom on the go's phone, like myself. I have education apps. I have work like sales apps for Salesforce that show that I work full time. So there are all these different ways to kind of slice and dice who someone is, and how that defines me as a consumer is just so different than just thinking of me as a woman 25 to 54.
Right. So you can really dig in there. So, for instance, I have a client, a local retailer, family owned business. They're a door store and windows. Shout out to them. And they work with customers on both replacement and new construction projects. So Sabio could potentially identify people in a geo-targeted area who are interested in things like new construction, remodeling, interior design, and specifically doors and windows. And then you can target ads to those individuals. Am I right?
Yeah, so the way we would look at that, we do a lot in the do-it-yourself home improvement category. So we would look at the apps on their phone. Do they have iHandy Carpenter, Home Decor, Home Depot? Has their phone been identified in the past 30 days at a similar retailer? So other local, window and home stores. And then we would layer on social if that was important to them. So we can, add in, oh, they have Facebook, oh, they have Instagram, oh, they have TikTok, to really help hone in on like maybe the generation of who they are based on which social network they're using. And then we're able, to layer on geo-target to make sure we're reaching consumers who live within the correct radius to where that, store might be or where the different locations are. So absolutely, there's so many creative ways to kind of get in front of clients these days.
That's really cool. They're not actually measuring how well someone with the TikTok app can do those dances, though, right?
Not, we only know
I don't want to be judged on that.
we only know they have that, not what they're doing behind use it, the login.
That's really funny. Okay, so I can hear it now. There's definitely people out there saying using this kind of data is getting really close to that invasion of privacy. And you and I both know that this data is really what drives our businesses. And even when we're using organic content and we aren't running ads, we're still looking at insights to see who's talking with us, who are they, what do they do? We want to make sure that we're reaching the most appropriate people. So, how do you answer that question when people say, oh, that's a little too big brother?
Yeah, absolutely. So what I think that first off people don't always realize is data is being collected in so many ways, not just the mobile device and online with cookies. So at Sabio, we do have a very proactive approach to privacy, right? So we don't know what's going on once someone is utilizing an app, right? We don't know about what they're doing within the closed doors. We just know that they have the app, so there's a lot of different approaches, and there's so many compliances within the industry that we are always kind of ahead of, right, to make sure that we don't have any issues. But the one thing I would say is data is everywhere. So if you want to turn off your cookies on your computer, you can, but your data is being collected in so many different ways, from your credit card to, when you're grocery shopping. So there's not really ways to avoid it, but I would say it's not being used the way in that scary too big brother of a way, I hope.
Right. That's a good point. And I think that's part of it. I mean, I think when you sign up, when you get your phone, when you get your iCloud account or whatever it is, you're kind of agreeing to hand some of that data over. It's like that Facebook post that reappears every once in a while that says, I do not give my permission for Facebook to use this. Yeah, you did when you got that Facebook account. So I think that that's an educational piece that people need to understand. You kind of have handed over some of your privacy. And personally, I'm okay with that. But you've got to be okay with that yourself. But just know it's out there. Yeah.
Yeah, the app is all opt-in on your phone, so you do have that out if you want it. But I would say is I don't want to be served, marketing and advertising that isn't relevant to me, right? I rather it speak to me and be something I might be interested in.
Right. So every ad I look at these days is either shoes from Nordstrom or something from Peloton.
Exactly.
That's basically me.
Mine is really far away.
Okay, so let's switch gears for a second because we're talking about a little bit of safety online, and we're both moms. We're at different stages of this. You've got an 8-year-old and a 5-year-old. I've got a 14-and-a-half-year-old and an almost 17-year-old. So we're kind of at different stages with social media and how our kids engage. So I'm, a little bit ahead, and I think probably it's much different for your digital natives even than it is for mine. So knowing that social media is part of your kid's life now, it's not really a toy. It's not something shiny and something they want to play with. It's literally part of their life. How do you manage it with young children, and what kind of advice do you have for access to technology?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely scary to think that our children are just growing up with it from day one. And there's so many different ways social is like thrown into their life without, like you said, the label of even like a Facebook or an Instagram. Even within school, there are social elements. So it definitely has been a big challenge in our house, finding that healthy balance, because I'm not sure there is a healthy balance. However, obviously during these crazy times, being home so much, not being able to do activities outside of the house, not being able to have play dates, we're two working parents at home. So I would say we've definitely overutilized technology in the past year, just to help keep the house quiet. We do work on limiting it during the school week. And we see an immediate change in their behavior when we do get a little bit stricter there.
Yeah, yeah. And I know our sons, my 14-year-old and your 8-year-old, have been able to connect via the Facebook Messenger for kids, which is really fun because I think yours is probably one of the only people mine talks to on there. So for me, it's really fun to see my kid as the big kid because I still think of him as, my little boy, but he's not. He's going to high school next year. So I remember when he was about the same age as yours and he was starting the texting with his friends and, it was all like poop emojis and a lot of hi, 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 hi. But he didn't really know like etiquette. How do you get out of a conversation when it's time for dinner? So instead of saying, I've got to go, he'd text all his friends and say, stop texting me. So we had to kind of learn, how do you navigate that? How do you talk to people online? So what kinds of situations have you had to deal with that kind of, resonate with that?
I mean, there are definitely some comical ones. I'm just glad I'm not in the phase yet, to be honest. But it's such a different thing to have to think about, to teach social manners and etiquette. I try to teach my 8-year-old that there are things that can haunt you forever. I'm not sure he really grasps that though. Even like small things like I mentioned earlier, even within education with school, he's posting on education apps where his teacher then can comment. That's social, that's etiquette. You need to teach him how to respond to his teacher in a polite way, instead of, there's an example where he posted something and the teacher wrote back, great job, and he replied back, I know. So we hear about like saying thank you and being respectful. So now I've noticed that change, and he is saying thank you. So that's great. But with Messenger, Kids became really popular with him and all of his friends at the beginning of the quarantine last spring, I guess it was. And there was definitely a learning process, because if he didn't like what someone said, he would just block them or just, turn it off. And I was like, listen, you need to start saying, can I talk to you later? Instead of just shutting it off. So there is, a lot to learn there. My younger one, she's on the Messenger Kids, and she just hits call, call, call. So she's not really there yet. She really prefers, her time adding things to shopping carts on my phone.
That's genetic.
Yeah, for sure it is.
So you know my daughter very well, and she would say, that you're doing it the right way by allowing him to be on and coaching him through this. She's 17, she's very savvy, and I asked her, when she was on our live stream, she was my first guest, and I asked her, did we do a good job? Did we teach you what you needed to do? And she said that the best thing we did was give her access. But to coach her, she wasn't allowed to put an Instagram post up at age 12. I don't even think she was supposed to be on the app yet, without us seeing it. And there were certainly posts I saw her put up later that I had her take down. And so it's a learning curve. But she said that it's good for parents to not completely block your kid, because when they're 13 and they're really allowed to be on there, you don't want to just let them go. You want to make sure that they've had some proper training and they know what they're doing.
Yeah, I think she's a smart one, obviously. I think that's really smart advice. I think with anything in life, if you say no, or it's a hard line, it creates more interest and piques, more curiosity. That being said, especially over the past year, social, it's been an amazing outlet to at least communicate with friends when you couldn't see them. But that being said, I always talk to him if he ever comes across anything, that makes him feel uncomfortable or like he's not sure of, to always come to me first. That being said, he doesn't really have access too much yet, but I want him to be overly aware, because we know kids can kind of get their hands on things that we're not even aware of, right?
Right. Yeah,
And I'm sure
absolutely.
as he gets older, we'll definitely have to modify, what his social access is, how much time he can spend within those outlets. But yeah, I really am with Jenna on that. Being too strict creates more interest. And it's good to at least get them out there to be able to feel connected, especially during these times.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's all good advice. I'm so glad that we got to talk both business and mommyhood. I know you've probably got a busy day ahead. It's only 9:15 there, so you're probably getting your day started. I think you said there's going to be 8 inches of snow in Chicago, so
That's
good luck
ability.
with that. That sounds awful. It's pouring here, but at least it's not snowing. I don't like the cold. I don't like the cold. But
No,
as soon as we are allowed to travel again and we're all vaccinated, I will weather the cold to come up to Chicago and see you and your adorable children. So thanks for
and
being here today.
for having me. Have a great day.
It's so much fun and have a wonderful day, Jessica. So, I hope that you learned a lot about demographics and targeting and how some of these apps work and they work for you as a marketer. So don't be afraid of them. Know that there are sources out there to help you, and someone like Jessica at Sabio could really help you out there. So thanks for joining me again today. I hope you have a wonderful week. If you need any help with your social, you can always find me at 520 East Brands. You can also tweet me at 520 East Brands. I'm happy to help out with your social media strategy or your daily implementation. So join me next week. It's going to be another new exciting day. I'm going to try something new and have two guests at the same time. I'm going to welcome my friends Jeanette Spear and Ann Wen, who I have never met in person, but they are my friends from Twitter. We literally met, 8 or 9 years ago on Twitter, and we've never met in person, although I have been listening to Jeanette a little bit on Clubhouse. So tune in next week and learn how, these relationships that we make online, they're real. These are my real friends. And just because I only know them via Twitter, it doesn't mean that I don't really know them. So join in. It should be a fun conversation. I'd love to welcome some of my other social media friends in and have a wonderful week.